Hello. That was very much not necessary. I've just made a 10 minutes video about context, about meaning, depending on where things are placed. Basically, I talked about math. I decided to reshoot the video because I didn't really appreciate how it was going. Because I felt like I was not being genuine, so I'm starting over to be genuine. I struggle with going back on what I said because I feel like I'm gonna take it wrong. I don't want to step on what the person I used to be when I said it said. And it feels like I can never be her again. I can never retrace that because I had a specific point at that moment. And if I say it now, I might change something, no matter how small it can be. Every association my brain does is to value. So I'm like, at this specific moment, I had this specific thought with this specific mind and state and emotion. I chose my words accordingly. So now, if I say it again, it's going to be overly biased by who I am now, which is fine, but I struggle with making it fine because why would it be fine? This is not what I meant. And I feel like I am unwitnessing who I was. I am deleting who she was and what she had to bring to the situation. When it's me to me, I don't need to because I know how I think, and that's the way I go back to my memory. I retrace. I'm like, how was I feeling at this moment? And I deduce from who I think I was, but that's also very biased, opened gate. D? Because you, like, what if I get it wrong? Who I was at this moment? Then I get the whole thought process wrong. However, this is what I think could be the error. Like, this is where I think the issue could be laying, but this is not true because I know how I think. So I'm not as straight away as I think I do. The context matters. The way you are, the state you are in when you say something, very much matters because it changes the whole way you perceive things. I think people don't realize how much we are gates. Like, what you see is not accurate. What you hear is not accurate. What you feel is not accurate. We're always perceiving. We're never like observing as is. We're too much movement, too much motion. That's what we are. Every day. Even when it feels like you didn't change, you did. Because another day came by. You made the decision to not change anything. This is you choosing again, even when it doesn't feel like you did. And this is you picking this person again, which is crazy. Because you don't realize how every day is a decision. How everything you do is a decision. Everything you say, every word you pick. You don't realize the consequences on people, yes, but on yourself even, of what you decide to choose. When it's small. When it's bigger, you might, care. I said That's a language tick. I don't know if you say this like that in English. I don't have in French. But I like when I sometimes when I speak in English, I feel like I have a different kind of personality or a different belief system. I say because I feel like I don't say it on purpose. But I think that I say it because I feel like everything that I'm going to say is to be guessed, but like easily guessed. It's easy to guess what's next. So I say, like, I am so slow right now. You could pick everything up. You could literally see everything that's coming next. I mean, that's how I see it. So I'm like, because of course you do. But I don't behave like that. I don't behave like things are obvious because things are never obvious. You don't know how the person is thinking. That's why it made me quite uncomfortable to have people saying, this is common sense. Common for who? Common how? It's not coming for me. I've been speaking more slowly because the camera has been not following, which is fine. Free will. I really don't appreciate when people don't take the time to take context in account. Like, how everything around mattered. But I genuinely appreciate when people admit not to care. Because they don't have to. But at least they know they don't. Some people could swear they're being so objective and over analytical when they didn't really spend any time into why this happened. Especially when things get morally ambiguous. When there's a common sense of moral. And I won't really argue that because we could all say together in unison, killing is bad. But any of us would kill depending on the situation. Whatever that is, like even if it's killing yourself, killing someone you think is really mean, or whatever. If you put anyone in the proper conditions, they would do anything. And then you could phrase it however you want, because context matters. But people don't realize how much it matters every day. Same way they make choices every day on everything, and it matters. It does matter. And I'm like, a lot of times people take their system beliefs for granted. Like, getting conscious about how you behave doesn't make you aware of how you are on a daily, especially because you're inside of you're going to be always, at all times, biased, which is fine because that's part of the experience. Like, the way they're so sure of how they would react, or maybe how they're so sure about how wrong or good something is. It just is, especially because you don't even know. Having the knowledge of right now is enough. Like, it's enough to be like, right now I feel like this, and you accept it because this is how you perceive it from now. This is how you perceive it now, so this is your reality now, so this is true. It's fine. Sometimes you come back on the situation and realize you didn't actually feel the way you thought you did. And then you realize this is maybe not the way you wish you did behave, or the words you said you wish you didn't. You want to take them back. Or you want to rephrase or something, you want to trade. But you don't grant that to others. You think, oh no, they did know exactly what they were doing. Not necessarily. I generally believe most of the time people don't know what they're doing. Or not as much as they like to believe they do. Doesn't mean they're not responsible for their actions or their words. It just means context matters. That's where it matters. Because then you will realize what triggered you, what didn't, what happened. What happened will be, you'll have a different narrative from that. You'll be like, oh, I didn't realize at this moment this and that were going on, and I heard this, and this person was there, and I had this emotion, but I also had that emotion. So when I said this, I meant it. But if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have said it like that. But if I had this, I would have. And you realize that it works for everyone at the same time. And it feels wrong sometimes because you're like, I've been wronged right here. Or this has been so good. You wish the person shared the exact same thing. You wish the person saw it. You wish the person shares your eyes, but they don't. They did not. When you feel like you're on the same length wave with someone, and it really genuinely feels like you guys are so close to living the same life, you don't. You both stood in front of an eclipse. You didn't see it the same way. You both saw it was red, but it didn't have the same shade of red. And you won't notice because you both call it red. And it's fine. It always is. I'm happy it does. Just saying. In a very long way, which I didn't need to at all. Just enjoy speaking. Context matters. But I don't like how it sounds sometimes because people might use it to be like, background checking. Do you know what happened to me? Yes, actually. And I will never understand how good or bad it was. I still feel wronged right here. So, hey, I'm not going to ask you to feel like what you did was wrong. I might just ask you why. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but it matters if you're curious, but it won't soothe or help you on an emotional level because it's you and you. Someone might have said something to cheer you up. They meant it. You felt offended. How does that make them, do you know? How does that make them your offender? Just a matter of narrative. Some people genuinely will get at you to offend you, though. In that case, context still matters and applies. However, if they did it on purpose, then you can hold them accountable for this. Same way you hold people accountable for what they did with intention. But intention matters. And sometimes it might feel bad. Not to me, though. But I know it could. It never did to me. Because you really can tell that people don't live the same realities. You can tell anytime. When I was a child, I didn't want to do that thing right here. But I will. Because I can and I want to. When I was a child, I had a narrative. A very specific narrative of my own. Which was always confronted to others. Because I was very intentional into what I wanted from people. Because I wanted to collaborate a lot and to make a lot of shows and to make a lot of musicals and to make a lot of games. I loved to organize stuff. I loved playing and I loved creating things. You pick up very quickly how different people interpret whatever you said, whatever you asked for. And you realize how everything matters. Then your parents exist and they asked you to do something and you did it in the wrong way, but you did it the way you understood it. And they are mad at you for this. Such an evil kid. You realize how things don't align. You feel offended because you're like, I really meant well. They cannot see that. That's it. They cannot see that. So then you might want to explain yourself. They're saying, don't try to justify this. They're saying, you know what you're doing. They're saying, oh my God, it's never your fault. They're saying this and that. And you feel like maybe this is real. Maybe that was the narrative, but you know it's not how it went. So now you start lying or manipulating the situation, which we always do, but you're getting very specific about the way you're manipulating it. And you're lying. You're like intentionally, full only lying. Butterfly. Butter. BTS. Yesterday, I had a very good piece of. That was chicken. But I didn't want to say that because I have my. I have my reasons. I also had some turkey. And mozzarella, which is really good. Avocado. The apple I ate was not sweet. Whatever. Child. You realize realities matters, perceptions matters. And then you realize it's not only about the other adults and the other child, it's also about yourself. I say child, I know it's children. However, and now you pick realities, now you pick perspectives, now you're curious. How do you see that? And you are like, why did I see it like that? And then when people are mad at you, you understand that this is their narrative. And when you're mad at people, that's your narrative. But then you're frustrated because you can see that and they cannot see that. They blame you. They need you to say you're sorry. They need you to say you're accountable for the pain you made them feel when that's not your narrative. But because you recognize we both have our own, you're sorry. But then you say, I'm sorry you took it that way. When it doesn't feel genuine. However, how more genuine can it be when I don't feel like I offended you? But then, why don't I feel like I offended you when I can see that you're in pain? Now that's a different thing, because now I can see that I hurted you. You might still not feel like you did, but you did. You did hurt them. So now, if you're not sorry, it could have multiple reasons. Personally, when I'm not sorry, it's when I would do it again. Like, I would totally do it again because I meant to do it like that. So, I didn't mean to offend. I will explain it to you, and I might, try to make the situation better next time with giving context, giving trigger warnings, avoiding certain things when you're around, but I'm still going to find a way to do what I had to do, what I have to do, and I'm not going to apologize for that. But I am going to apologize for not communicating this well to you, or the way I didn't notice you needed. But then you could apologize for causing this to me, because I could feel like, why are you making me feel like I did something that I didn't do from my perspective? That's selfish. Both are selfish, in my opinion. There's a reason why. No matter how much pain I feel, which is not always a good thing, but I really struggle with blaming others because that's my narrative. I only blame when I'm like, you purposefully did that. But when you didn't, then what? Then it's mine. It's only mine. I get it. I take it. I mean, I rarely feel offended. That's what I thought for my whole life. I'm 21. I felt like I was never offended because I understood, or I tried to understand. But I had my beliefs. I had the things I thought were proper, not proper, adequate, relevant. So I would base myself on that, but not on how I felt. My emotions were so out of the conversation, just about what made sense to me, what didn't. And sense was not found in my emotions. Sense was in how would I build the logic and what system do I apply. So yeah, I make this way longer than this needs to be. But you could shorten everything. That doesn't make this more relevant. Genuinely just appreciated talking about it. I feel like I could have been more precise and developed way better, gave more examples, more resources about the topic, but I also, this is not the purpose of the video, and I do this on a daily. This is about this video, this channel, this format. It's about not doing that at all. It's about letting go, because I struggle with letting go of my thought thread. I go on and go on and go on. This forces me to just say whatever I have to say without thinking about how much sense does it make and how much, measuring, making it weightful and relevant and relevant and relevant. So I teach myself how to perceive everything I say and do as relevant, to not feel inadequate, which I didn't feel in a way that shrinked me, but I would adjust myself, and I found me in various situations in which I would feel uncomfortable because I was not behaving in a way that felt natural to me, but it felt natural to play the game. I would have a lot of fun. That's also why I'm very good at role playing. Like picking something to defend. Because, I didn't have emotions from my perspective. So I would pick something to stand on. But I had contemplation, which I still have. I would look at things forever, and I would love that. To observe and think as many things as I can on the thing. I did not do it on purpose, but I just know that was the fun part. To me, I loved how anything could make me go away. And I didn't need to go away. I loved to witness life, which was found in me through the thoughts I would have, because the emotions didn't stand a chance in front of everything I had to produce in my mind. The emotions are also produced there, right? I love how emotions are senses. I really think I got it wrong when I was anxious, because that was not understanding what emotions were. I was anxious when I started being in my emotions and noticing I actually did feel things. Because I didn't realize how much they would be useful, because that's what they're there for. They're indicators of what stimulates me, what doesn't, what makes me move, what doesn't. I was just scared of that new way of interacting with outer world. And I'm happy I did do that. I'm happy I took the time, because it's worth it. Though it is intense, and though sometimes I still need to shut down, they are indicators. They're not here to tear you down. It's like being cold. It's like being sweaty. It's like everything your body does to regulate yourself. It's like depression. It's literally called depression. Your body is indicating you must do something. It's just indicating. All along, you fight yourself. You fight your body. You fight your emotions. You fight your everything about you when everything about you is you, and you always have indicators. Like, we feel so easily lost when we literally have buddies. It's not even like we're just minds, right? We have buddies. I think we really must learn first, then get to know how to use that. All the things we have that we don't take in account, or we deny, or we're scared of. That would put us into more meaning, but mostly a more enjoyable life, a more lively life, and lovely. I really like this exercise of me just talking, rambling. Sometimes I have plenty of things to say. Sometimes it just comes like this, very calm, very seated, and I don't try anything. I'm happy because it's starting to be easier. I don't only do this in video, obviously. Obviously, is it? I didn't want to show it, but now I do. Because it's lovely. Oh, that was not the first idea, but this, let's put you here. Well, I have two others, but I'll got you to my favorite. Well, 100 years ago, it's very well preserved, very well archived, and telling about how things were back then. Feel more immersed, and then everything makes more sense, and then you get better how things were happening. Why? Because we oftentimes forget, when people tell stories, when people talk to us, we oftentimes forget about where they're coming from. Like, that was not like us being at our own houses yesterday, that was a whole different time. It's oftentimes used in humor in movies, like they're making crossovers with our times and their times. But you can see more and more how people got used to this. Like, it feels like people struggle more and more to think different realities. To imagine, like, broadly, to imagine, to create, even. And now you have people calling themselves creatives. When this is, to me, human basics. We spend our time creating. Literally. Like, we adapt all the time, consistently. Our nervous system, our emotional system, everything about us is about adapting. We create new ways to fit into whatever we want to believe in. We create our realities, we create our narratives, we create our language, our systems, we create who we are, being a whole character that we play out and play out again and again and refine. I love this. But then some people express in many ways, but that's also creating. That's a whole thing you have in your hands. And some people even pass it, when you have a social environment, which most of us have, but there's not always that much interaction. Some people even pass to that. And then the person takes it, reinterprets it, and make it their own. Everybody is creative. which is the reason why everybody can get out of anything with something new. And new isn't something you never saw. New is something that comes from you and is created by you. Because there's not two yous. I'm sorry to say something so corny. I wouldn't have said that in French. I would have said bateau because bateau is a word I like. Boat. It's like, it's taking you somewhere. But it's taking you somewhere. It's not a real, it's not something you place a specific thing. It's taking you somewhere like, emmener en balade, tu m'emmènes en balade, which is another way in French to say that you are lying to me, trying to get me somewhere. We always do that. We always take people at places. That's the reason why we speak. We have words. Try to put something somewhere. Use words as vehicles to get to someone. When someone uses that specific thing, tu me mets en bateau, tu me mets en balade. When they use that, they're saying, you're not doing this the way we are supposed to do this. Like, it carries something. You're going empty-handed with that. I think that's what it means. Like, you're taking me somewhere, but you don't have my consent right here because what is this? Where are we going now? But when we exchange words, and you can tell the person has meaning for that word, the person has context for that word, you can tell because of how they speak, you can tell their words are their own, their expression is their own, they created that. You feel safer with those persons because you're like, they could stand on what they say, they have context for what they say, so it matters now. And you're happily going on their boat. You're happily going on a walk with them. What about you? What about going on a walk with yourself? Maybe literally take your legs and do that. And realize where you're taking yourself. When you ramble like this, where you're going, what you have to say, what matters to you. Why did context matter to me today? Well, currently, I am heavily thinking about who I want to be. Because I feel like I've always known who I wanted to be and who I was. It's always been clear because it was very intertwined with what I wanted from life, which I've also always known. So it's like I have to unlearn that. I have to accept that there's things that I need to experience before I make a decision. And I used to always need to know, to always have an answer for everything because I was educated like that. I always had to be able to give an answer for everything that I was doing. Otherwise, that was just, what are you doing? Why? You cannot explain? You cannot explain? Then you're stupid. That's not what they were saying. They were basically like, if you cannot explain what you're doing, this is wrong. That means this is baseless. What do you want to do with a baseless life? I'm grateful for that. There's a lot of drawbacks from this. There's also a lot to gain. Because, I mean, it's hard. Because that's why I struggle with rambling. That's why I struggle with saying things when I don't feel like they're relevant. That's why I struggled with emotions because I felt like they were not really welcomed. So I adapted fast and was like, you're out of the convo and the life. But I was kind of okay with people's emotions. I just felt like it was too much to handle. Because I didn't know how to handle that. I care about meaning right now because I always feel like I know who I am. But I want to make sure this is who I want to be. Who I say I want to be. And who I feel like I am becoming. So I check on myself like, what makes you think you know so good? But that's something I've always done with my thoughts. I'm doing this with my emotions right now. I'm asking myself, am I comfortable doing this? Am I comfortable doing that? And then I don't think, I answer, and then I think, I reflect, why did I say it like that? And it's still a big fight. It's still a lot of, I will say I'm not comfortable, but then I'm always like, but I am, because I understand it's hard for me to find that specific thing, separating understanding and the feeling you have with that. Like, I understand that this happened, but I still felt it wrong. I understand that this was mean, but I still loved it. You know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hate when someone is in pain because of me. Because I'm like, what is this? What, like, I cannot, I wouldn't have put it like that, like in pain words. And when the person explains, it has so much sense and meaning. I'm like, obviously, that was it. Which is heavy for my ego. Even right now, I feel like I have like little to zero sense of ego for almost everything. But when it comes to being relevant, when it comes to understanding, so when I have an emotional issue, because that's my zone of not clear understanding, I don't feel stupid. I'm just humbled. When I feel sad and I realize it's sadness, it's not just an efficiency, it's sadness. I'm not just tired because I didn't sleep enough. I'm actually like depressed. Yeah. I have to take things like that. I am saying easy examples, but like emotions are way more complex than this. Even realizing it's not only about the things that you could categorize as negative. It's even about the things that are good. Like, I realize how good I felt, And yet, someday someone told me, you talk about yourself like you're not human. They didn't mean I was talking about me like I was some kind of deity or something, but just, they think I always dehumanize myself. Not diminishing me, because I have a strong sense of confidence. So it's not like that. It's really, they think I hold myself to an emotional standard that's not human. But I hold it. It's my comfort zone. It's my safe zone. But I like to wonder and wonder. So I got there out of curiosity. Because some things started to miss in my thinking. It started to be obvious that something was missing. And those were emotional connection to self. So I'm accepting that side of me now. It's surprising how much you can narrate a story from back to back and decide to have a complete different version every time with the same facts. It's so funny and good. I used to do that with writing, for instance, a poem or a novella, to rewrite phrases depending on how I wanted to make them sound, which is normal in writing. I hate the word normal, which is the reason why I didn't want to. But I said it, so now I have to compensate. But yeah, it's midnight, I guess. I really wanted to post before midnight. It had to be Sunday 11th. But it's fine. It's fine because now it's full moon. I mean, it's tomorrow. It's today. It's tonight. Oh, my knee. Knee revealed. I'm happy about this whole talk. I had fun. I hope I am being heard. I really should have a microphone I wish I thought about it. I did think about it. I just wish I thought about it when I was at the store and I could buy that. You know, that's when I wish I thought about it. I have a USB microphone. I just don't like to use it, but I have one. It's crazy that I didn't. I feel like it's not the way I want it to be. But I could have recorded on my phone and added the record. Sometimes things are easier than we make them be. Whatever. I am going to make the sound better someday, not today. But I am. With subtitles. That's going to be great for everyone. I'm happy I had this talk. I'm going to drink some rosemary tea with pepper and curcuma because I like the taste. I was thinking about eating food. Thank you for listening to me. Have a very, very, very blessed day.